Hi there! I'm going to show you how Sharine sounds and works. Sharine is a shaker and tambourine library recorded with 3 mic positions. It covers a wide variety of different shaker sounds, so these are basically all the shakers you might need in one instrument. We can listen to a quick demo now. On the green keys, you have the preset patterns, so when you hold a key, a specific pattern will be played. You can change that pattern in the sequencer window, which we'll cover later. You can also play each articulation separately using the blue keys. C3 is a shake with the hand going forward in the case of a shaker, and left in the case of a tambourine. D3 is the same, but in the opposite direction, and E3 is a hit or accent. Rolls are mapped to the red keys, and yellow keys are just the tambourines hit by a drumstick. If you want to check the mapping at any time, you can click on this icon and the info panel will show up. What makes this library different from other shaker libraries is the fact that it retains the pre-roll of each individual sample and keeps the pattern in sync with your tempo. So let's take a look at the pre-roll. Imagine a shaker in slow motion going from one direction to the other. Inside the shaker, there are usually plastic or metal tiny bouncing balls. The main transient of the shaker consists of the majority of those balls hitting one side of the shaker internally. But while the hand is moving through the air, some of the balls are already hitting some other part of the shaker, which make additional sounds, and it's those sounds that create the pre-roll or pre-shift. As I'm sure you know, samplers work like this. A MIDI note is received by the sampler, and an audio file is played back. This creates a problem with instruments that contain pre-roll sounds like shakers, tambourines, or a crowd clapping, because the notes can't be advanced in real time. Because of that, the pattern ends up out of sync, and you have to manually fix it, which ends up being time-consuming and a bit of a pain. Some developers tried to fix this issue by introducing a sample offset feature. What this basically does is getting rid of the pre-roll, which, yes, sounds in sync, but it's not realistic at all. Moreover, the pre-roll is different for each individual sample, but you are offsetting a fixed amount of time, which is kind of a mess. This library knows exactly the amount of pre-roll for each individual sample. Thanks to the sequencer, it knows what note is coming next, so it can anticipate the perfect amount of time so the transient is placed at the right spot while keeping the pattern in sync. Let's see some practical examples. I rendered a basic pattern using the 3 methods that Sharine offers. The first one is raw, no sample offset and no pre-roll. You can already see how this is not in sync, but let's listen. The second one is with a sample start offset applied. This is in sync, but look how the waveform has been completely modified. This doesn't sound like a real shaker anymore. And the third one is what Sharine does. This sounds completely in sync and completely realistic. The library contains 4 different tambourines and 8 shakers. The spotlight indicates which of these are loaded, so you can have any combination you want in just one instance. You can also set the volume, pan, and pitch of each individual instrument by Hold-Alt and clicking on them. This is useful if you want to have, for example, 2 shakers hard panned. In the mixer window, you can load and purge, control the volume, pan, or width, and select the output channel of each microphone separately. In the top half of the sequencer window, we have a table that represents the current pattern. Right now we have the default pattern loaded. We know that by looking at the presets knob here, it says C2, so we are just tweaking the parameters for the first preset. If the bar is above the middle line, it means that it's playing a C3. If it's below, it means it's playing a D3, and a full bar plays E3. This is done to follow the natural direction of the hand. You can tweak the table directly, or you can use the Record Pattern button. When you activate that, the table will be emptied and you'll be able to play any pattern you want using the blue keys. If you want to revert changes, you can simply Alt plus click on the table. To select the different presets, you can either change the presets knob or play the note associated with that preset. On the bottom half, we have the pre-roll, which you can have either on or off. Samples start offset with a fixed amount of milliseconds, or set it to auto. What auto does is that it offsets the start position to the main transient of each file. The offset amount will vary depending on the sample that's being played. The swing knob introduces swing feel to your pattern. You can also set the number of steps for the table and choose the tempo between a quarter, an eighth, and 16th note lengths. Remember, the pre-roll script only works when playing patterns. It doesn't work with rhythms directly played with the blue keys. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the library.